I went to go support somebody last week who was in a band, and I was just invited to show up to this thing by this guy who I see from time to time. But I said to him when he invited me, I was like, yo, you haven't met my girl yet. You know what I'm saying? At that time when the band is playing, I'll be with her. And I was like, yo, I met your wife like 4 times though. Maybe when we go to the show, we can all hang out, get to know each other. And he was like, sure. And then he says a very interesting question. It may not be interesting, but it rubbed me the wrong way. He said, how is she? Such a simple question, but it triggered me. I know exactly why. So I'm so used to being in chaotic relationships that whenever someone would ask me that question in the past, I would feel uncomfortable or a little irritated because I would always say something positive, even though that wasn't really true. I don't want to dump relationship things onto people, you know what I'm saying? Because once you say like, oh, well, it's like this, then, people are just like, why? What's going on? What's going on? And then it's like, I don't want to have this conversation, you know what I'm saying? But what feels like the first time I could say without lying that everything is good between us. And I said to him also that this is like my first time being in a stable relationship. Someone who actually has a job, someone who hasn't drank the Kool-Aid, someone who respects boundaries, like someone who's ambitious, someone who actually has a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like I never dated people with these attributes in the past because chaos and toxicity is exciting to me. Listen, I'll be for real. But here and now, ain't no chaos going on. And I told him, this feels different, but in a good way. Being with someone who isn't emotionally unpredictable and lacking accountability. And he said something like, and listen carefully, this is what he said, right? This is what I was talking about in an older video too about being safe to be around. He said, yeah, if you didn't know, dude, my wife, I'm remarried. This is my second marriage. And her and I, it's different now. And sometimes we don't really know how the other side of the relationship feels like because our exes were both toxic. Listen, you could be so used to toxic things that you don't get to experience something like this. My wife right now, she's still adjusting to it too. Like yesterday, the boiler in our house broke, right? Which is a big deal. The boiler in your house breaks. So we got it repaired. And while the repair person was there, she said to me, hey, thanks for not getting mad or loud or shouting. And I was confused or like puzzled because what is she talking about? But now I understand that's probably how her past relationships were like. Something bad happened and her ex would always be shouting or mad and this and that. So him sharing that with me has stuck with me for weeks. Sharing that story about that boiler. Like, wow. Sometimes we don't really know the other side, even though we are aware that it exists. It's just something that we're just not usually involved in. I think something I'm learning is that I think the attachment I had to inconsistent and unpredictable relationships, it's something my unconsciousness was easy with, But now it recognizes something where now my brain feels like, okay, well, I'm not okay with this anymore. And it's important for me to have another experience to grow into. Look, I still sometimes think about or even fantasize about chaotic moments in the past, but those type of things now, it's fun until it's not fun. You get what I'm saying? I think a good portion of this is just growing up too. I have so many other things going on now that I find it very difficult to entertain activities like this. Like I can't let someone consume my whole day like I used to. I can't sit there talking on Discord all day. I can't sit there texting somebody all day. Like I just, my mind is in like many other places besides just like, okay, how do I deal with someone's emotions? How do I deal with someone's problems? Like I just don't have the time and patience for it anymore. And the reason I got irritated when he asked me that question is because I could tell that my brain is like gearing up to lie about something or put a mask on, even though I'm feeling drained about the situation. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's how I'm used to acting. So asking such a simple question put me on the defensive and triggered a past response or a past feeling. Thankfully, I answered normally, but in my head, I'm annoyed even though I didn't need to be. There's a distinction between working with a partner versus surviving a partner. Does that make sense? So I started asking myself this question as I analyzed my past relationships. Was I working with this person or was it survival? And this could go both ways too, because, this isn't just like, I'm not a victim here. You know what I'm saying? Even with my own behavior, sometimes I made relationships difficult as well due to my flaws, due to my poor tolerance. Was I really when I wasn't really even working with the person I was dating. It was just like mutual toxicity, and that's how, that's what survival was in the relationship. That's how we survived. It was the toxicity. And my issues with my lack of patience, my severe anger issues in the past, me lacking emotional control, like, and I would seek the same type of people to be in relationships with who had those attributes, because I was so used to it internally. This is how I was, so I'm going to stick with what I'm familiar with instead of recognizing I had to fix my own issues. And like last year, a lot of work was done for myself. Being alone, being hurt by certain people, it was all necessity. That's why I was saying in yesterday's video, bad luck is not bad luck until you make it bad luck. Until you say it's bad luck. Until you declare it to be bad luck. It wasn't no bad luck. This needed to happen. I started to appreciate myself a lot more and learn to subdue my emotions that don't serve much positive feelings to me and others. And I think that became reflective with who I decide to spend my time with now. And I'm happy about it. Again, I still crave it sometimes and fantasize about the past, but like, you can't, it takes a while to reprogram the brain, you know what I'm saying? Reprogram the subconscious too. No point of taking steps back when you put time into the work that you need to grow into, the person you want to grow into, rather. Anyway, something to think about, some food for thought. Hopefully it's useful in any case. Love you all. I'm out.